I had no idea that Brexit was going to take over my life in such an all-encompassing way as it has done.
Now is the moment for us to get Brexit done.
The country I love.
When you're going on location, it's all about getting different perspectives. So hunting for the right guests to come on in the thick of the action to speak, that was the heart of the preparation. Then on the day, Paris is an easy train ride away from Brussels. The important thing is to grab as many newspapers as you can at Gare du Nord and soak in what the mood is, both in London and in Brussels, as we headed towards that summit.
Well, before we go to any summit, we check what's on the agenda. They give us a certain amount of information, a certain amount of time before the summit. Now, in normal times, that would be quite a few days before. With this particular summit, we actually didn't even really know until the day itself what was going to be discussed in terms of Brexit and when.
So we're just about to arrive in Brussels. I'm keeping my voice down because we're on the train, trying not to disturb people. But lots of bits of information, ideas of what's going to be happening, but a lot of today is going to be quite improvised, so we'll see.
So I just cleared security to get into the summit when I got an alert on my phone from France 24 and then lots of messages from friends and colleagues as well saying they've found a deal between Boris Johnson and the EU Commission.
Second floor.
Into the place where it all happens, the media centre. Summits, European, any others, they are quite strange things to cover as a reporter because they go on for quite a long time and there'll be quite long periods where you're sort of waiting around because the leaders are just closeted away in their discussion room having their discussions. But you do have to stay quite alert because obviously, there could be little declarations, there could be leaks or decisions that come almost at any moment.
It's 10:15 in the evening and we're just waiting to see what's been discussed at dinner because the Brexit situation, that's dealt with at this end, but there's some other big things that are being discussed. Turkey, Syria, enlargement of the EU. So they're really important things and we're waiting to see if something comes out about those.
You must know about this guy that he's the poop, that is to say, is guessing the end of the summit. So I'm asking him every time I arrive for the past 20 years, right? Asking this guy when he's going to hand.
Juste. Aujourd'hui, c'est très spécial, donc c'est vraiment difficile à te donner. Je pense vers 2h du matin.
We keep hearing people say here that, look, this has gone on for a very, very long time now. It's more than 3 years since that referendum happened. And the EU is certainly very keen to draw a line under this and move on with its own priorities. Brexit's been a really long old saga. Back when the referendum happened, I was breakfast news presenter and I actually was on air at the moment when we had the result, more or less. So I feel like I've been with Brexit from the beginning, now as Europe editor. I actually do find it really satisfying to be able to follow every minute step, as geeky as that is, but it's just great because it means that when somebody makes a declaration or there's a vote or something, I can put that into context so much more for myself. The challenge is trying to put that into context for the viewers.
Now that's the question everyone asks all the time. You're doing another debate about Brexit? Well, the point is that we never know what's going to happen. When the story gets stale, when you know what you're going to say before you go on air, that's when you know you need to change topics. What the British have done, though, is kept us in suspense, and they're still keeping us in suspense.
Brexit fatigue is real. It is a thing. Viewers are sick of hearing about it. A lot of journalists are kind of tired of talking about it, even if we do find it extremely interesting and compelling as well. When we're in those press conferences, something's just been announced. You have to try and think, I'm representing the viewers, so what would somebody in Spain or in Paris want to know about this?
The fact that the UK is actually leaving, it's something that we at France 24, well, we feel it personally. A, because there's lots of British subjects who live here in France and who come up to us on the street and talk about it. And secondly, journalists in the newsroom for whom this isn't something theoretical, this is something that's also happening to them.
At this point in 2016, I had no idea that Brexit was going to take over my life in such an all-encompassing way as it has done. I think though probably if I'd sat down and thought about it, I would have thought, yeah, we are going to be talking about Brexit for a long time. You know, it's not just this negotiation period where it's going to be dominating the news. Once the withdrawal agreement is negotiated, then there's going to be the future relationship to be negotiated. And I mean, to be honest, at this point, who knows if we're going to get there? I think that we are going to be talking about Brexit for a long time.